This one's pretty interesting. It obviously has to do with tattoos. So in New Zealand, I want to say the article was from last year. In New Zealand, there was a tattoo artist calling for the right to have copyright on their work. So on their actual tattoos that they design. So the article kind of just loosely, I mean, doesn't loosely, but it goes over like there's an unwritten rule in New Zealand that, and I'm sure across the world, that any decent tattoo artist doesn't copy designs. I mean, I would agree with you that, or I would agree that you probably don't or and haven't ever copied any designs.
When I first started, people would bring me things, and that's part of the game. You just when you're not guided and you're in the industry and no one was willing to teach you and you're passionate and motivated to learn, you do whatever you have to do. So in the beginning I did a lot of flash, and that's what they call just designs off the wall,
right,
or different designs that people say I want that one, and they take it to the artist. The artist has a stencil that they make, or they trace it, and then they put it on you. So I've done a lot of that in the beginning. But later on, there definitely is a lot of people that come that show a picture, for example, like the Rocks tattoo, and says, I want that. And a lot of people say, I want something like that, but it's very common for people to say, I want this exactly. And that blows my mind. I don't know why someone would want an exact tattoo like someone. But it's quite common, honestly.
Really?
And I don't do it, and we don't do it here at the shop. We don't agree with that for sure.
And it's hard because, like you said, most designs, like I said, even like on a face, like that's, in some cultures it's a religious piece, you know what I mean? And to have it and to explain to a corporate company, like, hey man, this is how you're supposed to do it. Where they, like you said, they just look about money, like, hey, how can we profit from it? And I think that's where a lot of people get kind of, on
and earlier, didn't Mike Tyson?
Yeah, I feel like they referenced two separate instances, like one being Mike Tyson and one with Jean-Paul Gaultier, who's like a fashion designer. They were able to win those cases. Or
really?
I think there was a cease and desist. With the Jean-Paul Gaultier, there was like a Marie Claire is like a magazine, and there was a photo shoot that had one of the models had a moco on, and
I think I saw that.
They called it like junk something. I can't remember the name, but they apologized. They apologized for using that. They didn't have any representation, or they didn't know what it meant or anything. They just thought it looked cool for the photo shoot. And then as far as the Mike Tyson thing goes, I think you read that up. You read up on it.
Where Mike Tyson sued what is it?
Well,
the movie or something?
Well, So Mike Tyson got that famous tattoo over his eye. The tattoo artist, when he did the tattoo, Mike Tyson essentially handed over copyright laws and everything. Like, you own the design, it's yours to do with what you want. Well, when they came out with the Hangover 2 in 2011, the tattoo artist sued Warner Brothers. Because they copied.
So the tattoo artist did.
The tattoo artist did.
Did he win?
I don't know.
That's really, it's really weird.
Yeah.
Artwork like that, it's so hard, and it's not even Maori.
I was gonna say, isn't it?
Who did it? Was it in New Zealand or anything?
No, it was.
It was just a tribal piece.
It was just a tribal piece.
It's like more like what, I don't forget what you call it, but like
neo-tribal.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I had his name.
Yeah, it's not Maori at all. But it's a good point, you know, as far as art goes, and culture and things to be aware, especially now that Polynesian tribal is so prevalent. I'm really big on, now people are just kind of taking artwork off Google, and just putting on T-shirts, and next 10, 15 years down the road, that becomes the authority, which it's not. So that's why we're doing this show, to try and spread the right culture, right tradition, and share it. So if you guys know anything or want to share your culture or education of your history and your culture, your family, whatever, that's what we're here about.